from what they hoped would look like natural causes. Now, what you're showing right here is a Raytheon Raven's Claw device, excuse me, that can actually target by frequency any of the organs in your body. I was actually sent to the ER with them targeting one of my kidneys. I originally thought that I had a kidney stone, but when I got there and waited for them to do the x-ray and get back to me, there was a doctor who came back and said, okay, here's your kidney stone. It should be out in the next week. Oh, I see you've had an organ removed. I said, no, I never have. Can you be born without whatever organ is missing? And he said, no, you can't. So this isn't your x-ray. So I surmised from that what they were doing was they were putting nano into me as a painkiller because I had an IV. And after that, my sensitivity to the directed energy weapons going through the house was much increased, because what they do is that they catch and reflect back into your body the frequencies you're being hit with. And you can be hit with weaponized Wi-Fi. And I'm not going to, I can't tell you all the different types, but there is pulsed microwave, like you have heard in basically concerning the diplomats. There are a multitude of other types and variations of the weapons they have. One thing is heterodyning. Well, what is heterodyning? They can hit you with an extraordinarily high-pitched sound that sears through your brain. And heterodyning would be not just picking a frequency and hitting you from 3 different directions with it, but heterodyning would be a couple of different frequencies that really exacerbate the damage each other will give you. So that is really, that's like having something sear through your head. And one of the ways that they basically lock into you gives you tinnitus. And they're saying now that tinnitus actually can cause brain damage. So they are all about the brain damage, all about destroying your life, destroying your mind, destroying your ability to testify against them.
Which goes along with saying you're crazy, which is something the NSA likes to do a lot. And of course, Karen, please continue. And would you agree with me that now everybody is being targeted through the jab and the booster systems with the mRNA, so they can target genetically and biologically almost anyone they want all the time, anytime?
I absolutely agree. I mean, I speak mostly about the electromagnetic weapons because that's what I'm being hit with. But I have spoken to hundreds of people, if not thousands, but hundreds, who tell me that they also use DNA-specific poisons, gases. It sounds like it's a smorgasbord. Once you're on this list, then they're free to target you for experimentation, for non-consensual experimentation, because secretly what they've done by listing you as a terrorist is to secretly strip you of your constitutional, civil, and human rights. And if you remember, Bush said, we'll hunt you down and kill you wherever you are. We don't care, what country you're in. We reserve the right to just murder you. They have interpreted that as, hey, if we're calling them terrorists and stripping them of their rights, why kill them all at once? Why don't we just use them to experiment on and test our weapons on? I mean, after all, there is a new electromagnetic weapons war, weapons race. So why not just use it on these people who don't count? We've erased them. So we are human trafficked. They make money off of us. And I would say that not only do the contractors basically get in there and say, hey, could you just go ahead and declare like 20 people to be terrorists so we can experiment on them with this new device? But they also seem to be contracted by powerful, influential people who say, my cousin Fred, he's going to be a co-inheritor and I don't want him to live. So my rich uncle is going to die, and I don't want my cousin to have any of it. So why don't you put him as a terrorist and get rid of him? There's one woman that I met who was put on the list because she refused someone's sexual advance, and now she's on the list for life. So if people say, well, I didn't work for the government, I certainly didn't work for the intelligence community, I should be safe, it's not my problem. No, it is your problem. And it could be your mother's problem, your sister's problem, your son's problem, your grandchild's problem. So the fusion centers I've described as Trojan horses. They're supposed to be doing one thing when they are entirely doing another. They are attacking the people that they are supposed to be protecting. So the fusion centers need to be frozen, shut down, audited, and the people in the domestic terrorism unit especially need to be apprehended and questioned as terrorists. Now, I will say that there were people in my parents' neighborhood who seemed to be going house to house to house, and at any of the houses they stayed at for a long time, there seemed to be weapons that started to emanate from there. I found out those people were Fusion Center employees, and specifically FBI Annie White and Mr. Kennedy, who I don't really know if he's FBI or Fusion Center, but they were the ones who were leading the attack on me to murder me for no reason, other than NSA said, "Could you murder her?" So, I mean, I have specifics, but nobody seems to want to investigate. But I just wanted to make it clear, if these things are not shut down, it will affect your family. It will affect your wife, your husband, your friends.
Yeah, I've talked to moms whose kids have been killed by task force members, which I would say are fusion members. Let's show some of those photos of, again, of the vehicles with emanations where you've actually photographed, and the distortions. It's showing the vehicle distortion that you have documented, and because you're a subject matter expert in this, showing the electromagnetic field distorted by the projected weapon. And of course, there's multiple levels to verify that this is happening. Electromagnetic Faraday bags, Faraday curtains. It looks like you've got some there. What else should people and can people do?
Oh gosh, I mean, if you end up being targeted, one of the first things you do, because I ended up collecting a lot of material that would reflect or absorb some of this. Had I known more at the beginning, the first thing I would have done was paint my house with the electromagnetic field paint. That would be the most effective and the very first thing to do. I mean, there are all kinds of junk objects that will help you. I mean, believe it or not, aluminum screening helps mitigate the Wi-Fi weaponry. There's Teflon, believe it or not, Teflon that will reflect. Um, Charcoal absorbs heat. There's just all kinds of things that you can get from, and I'll give you a list that you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot, but it junks up your house, and it is not pleasant. It's not pleasant to live that way. So we need people with the Rydberg sensors. Those are sensors the military has that detects not only these weapons, but they source them. I mean, it doesn't do you any good to say, yeah, your house is getting hit pretty hard, but we don't know where it's from. But the Rydberg sensor will show you, oh, it's the house there over on the left. So we need help with that. Thank God there are these devices, but we don't have access to them yet. And I would tell people there is a committee on the weaponization of government against Americans. We have been trying to tell them this is a serious concern, as well as everything else they're looking into. And they need a specific task force for the targeted individuals, the victims of FBI fusion centers. And they need it now before more people are burned in their beds. And I'm talking second to third degree from Wi-Fi, weaponized Wi-Fi and other weapons, and killed. There was one man in Arizona who was trimming his hedges. He was hit with a horrific weapon, brought to the hospital. His arms turned black. And just before they could amputate his arms, he died. And doctors and sheriffs and police are being told to shut up about it, or else you'll be next.
Well, the law.
Yes, if sheriffs will take their duty to uphold the Constitution seriously and arrest or get rid of federal agents who are there to break the law. The Committee on the Weaponization of Government is also, I mean, that's not all of Congress, but there are a handful of people who are really interested in helping, and I'm concentrating on them. And I think it is a good idea to concentrate on the sheriffs who are constitutional sheriffs, and have them influence their legislatures to give them the laws they need to react to this. I think you're right. There was a Patriot, a head of a Patriot group that contacted me and said, I know this is happening, but what can we do to help you? We don't want to be hit like this. And I said, well, if you get the information out and some of these people that you know who are patriots have been induced to commit crimes against people they're told are terrorists, and you tell them, no, they're not terrorists. What is it these people are telling you? And give us that information. Again, whistleblower. We could use that very much. And there is a targeted justice lawsuit in Houston, Texas against DOJ, DOD for doing this to people, and they are challenging the tier 3, tier 4 concept that we can put people on the watch list for nothing. So that's an over $1 billion
And
lawsuit that's test the waters. But
oh,
thank you very much for having me on. This is very important for the American people to know because we are under attack and we are not terrorists.